Brookins here, a coach at Kent State University. I appreciate you guys being here, taking the time out your evening to spend time with us. Um, I've been at Kent State since January of 2022, so I just got here excited for what the season's going to bring for us this year. Piggybacking off what Coach Knapp said, my coach philosophy is, coaching with love. Make sure my guys understand that I support them, I respect them, I trust them, I get the most out of them at all times. I think it's more than the game of football for our young men that look like us and young men all around the country, and giving them the support and everything that they need to be successful for after football, being married, being a husband, being an NFL, whatever that comes. Make sure they have all the support and love they need from our coaches. Next up, we got Coach Javon Collins from Emporia State Hornets, young up and coming young African American coach. He's gonna be a great young coach in this business. He's gonna be a stud in the near future. Tap in with him. Very knowledgeable, very articulate with his words, and very passionate about what he's doing. Javon, you got it.
Hey, appreciate that, Keelan. Hey, guys, like Keelan said, man, we definitely appreciate y'all tapping in with us. And like he said, man, I'm Javon Codlin. I'm 25 years old. I actually just got done playing football and making the transition, trying to coaching full time. I just recently accepted a graduate defensive back graduate assistant position at Emporia State. So I'm looking forward to like what the future holds with them. A great group of guys that I'm about to go work with and learn from, and just an awesome group of guys that I'm on to chat with right now. I know Coach Napoleon. We played together in college at Kansas Wesleyan. He took me under his wing, and just like these other guys, man, just being able to learn from these other young black coaches in this business, I just want to contribute to what they're doing. So I definitely want to introduce the next guy up, Quentin Carter. He's a defensive GA at Nebraska. Me and Quinn, we go back. We played at Kansas Wesleyan as well. I played corner. He played safety.
Yes, sir.
We like go ahead, Quinn. Introduce yourself.
Appreciate that, Kai. My name's Quentin Carter. I've been all over the place. I'm from California, SoCal area, Riverside, right around LA, if anybody's used to it. Like Cod said, I went to school at Kansas Wesleyan. I played with Cod and Brandon, and those are my dogs, man. Known them for a while. Really, really good dudes. One thing about me, I've kind of been, like I said, I've been all over the place. And some of the things that I've learned really with my coaching philosophy is to carry your own weather. Um, I always like it to be sunny and 75. Like I said, I'm a California guy, so I tell my players to make sure that anything that's going on outside of the room, outside of the building, keep that stuff outside. You know what I'm saying? You can come to me, you can talk to me, but when it's time to get on the grass, it's time to work. So that's one thing that I preach. One thing that I do want to get to you guys today for sure is to find mentors. You know what I mean? One thing that I learned, I'm young in the game, but one thing that I learned quickly was to find mentors, not just old guys, but mentors that are also my peers. And this next guy that I'm about to introduce is one of those guys. I learned a bunch from him already. He's one of the up and coming guys in this game. I'm going to go ahead and introduce Akron's cornerback coach, Mr. Trey Bell.
How y'all doing, man? I'm excited to be on the panel with these guys, man. Like everybody is saying, we got a bunch of young, hungry coaches in this thing, and I see a lot of people on here right now, and I'm excited to get a chance to talk to you guys, man. Get a chance to talk some ball. My philosophy, and it's not really even a philosophy. It's just kind of how I go about my life. Is something I got from my dad, man. Trust the process. You'll see I tweet it all the time, hashtag TTP, because everything that you do is a process, right? Like everything that you go through is a process, and the process is never really over. You know what I mean? So like as you going through it, just understand you're going through this process, right? You're working every day to get better, whether you bettering yourself on the field, whether you bettering yourself off the field, whether you're bettering yourself in your family life, right? Everything is a process, and just make sure that you trust that because I think it's very important that everybody goes about their business with their head down, with a hard working mentality. You know what I mean? I'm excited to be on here. My journey has been one that I'm very proud of. I started off playing at Vanderbilt, finished my career at UConn, started my coaching career off at Eastern Kentucky. From there, I GA'd at Mississippi State for 2 years, and then I was at Florida State this past year, and now I'm Akron's corners coach. Been here since January. And I'm excited, man. I'm excited to get the ball going and get this thing going in the MAC. And I wanna go ahead and introduce one of our next speakers, Kyle Wiggins. Kyle, you up, my man?
Appreciate it, Trey. How's everybody doing today? Like Coach said, I'm Kyle Wiggins. I coach the safeties here at Frostburg State. I've been at Frostburg since 2019 and kind of been through it all here. We got coaching change, everything, been through it all. One of the biggest things that I kind of pride myself in my room on is just be you, be yourself. Whether it's throughout the process, whether you're a young coach on here, whether you're somebody going through the actual process, just be yourself. Because at the end of the day, people cannot like you for a lot of things, but as long as you're yourself, it don't matter about anything else. So throughout this whole process, don't change who you are to please somebody else. All right. Like I said, we're a great group of guys around here. Up next, I'm gonna introduce my dog Vaughn. He's a defensive analyst at Ole Miss. Go ahead, Vaughn.
How y'all living, man? Like you said, my name is Devon Brown. I'm from Belgrade, Florida, kind of the West Palm Beach area. I played football at FAU, so I played there for 3 years with under Coach Kiffin, man. I won 2 championships there. So my process was when I got done playing, I knew I wanted to be a coach. So my first thing I hit up the coaches, kind of who I played under, and Coach Kiffin gave me opportunity to come to come to Ole Miss as a room, and that was probably the best decision I ever made, going to the offense side, not just going to the defense side where I was comfortable at, man. And I said that's the best decision I ever made is because the process, the learning process that I had, man, just to see how those guys thought, how they think, man, just the vision of just how they carry themselves, man. Then just how I can learn of what defensive fronts and defensive scheme kind of make them have trouble on the offense side of the ball, right? So, and that's it doing with fronts, with 3 down, even just showing different shells, the movement, and then pre-snap and post-snap. So just being in the quarterback room with Coach Kiffin and working with the O-line and running backs, I thought that kind of really helped me in my coaching career. And then I had the opportunity to move to the defense side, be an analyst, and move over with Sam Carter. And that's one of my big-time mentors right now. Just him just not having a big-time ego and him making me feel like I could run my own room when he giving me the opportunity to coach those guys and be in that room with those guys. Because I'm blessed to be on here. And then one of my big time and favorite coaches who's on here right now is Davis Merritt, man. He don't understand how much grind he put in with me, but I do this for him, man. And he the reason why I got into coaching, because coaches is all about it's not all about X and O's, man. You gotta love these guys up on and off the field. And a lot of coaches don't go through what we've been through, but man, he was willing to learn what we've been through from if you're from the hood, from the suburban, wherever you're from, he was willing to break down to that, man. So like I said, my name is Devon Brown, man. I'm willing to learn anything, and I'm here to just grind and get better each and every day, dog. So now I'm introduce Nigel. I met Nigel at a coaching convention down in Texas, man. And one thing I knew about him when I first got into him, man, this guy is well known, right? Well known. He know what he want. He very detailed, open book, always laughing, always smiling. And when I say open book, that means hey, he have a lot of pages that he can tell you, but then he have a couple of pages that you can write in this book. He always willing to take notes, always willing to learn. So introducing Nigel from Oregon.
Man, how y'all doing, man? I'm so excited to be on this call right now, man. I wish y'all could see my face, man. I'm smiling so hard because I got the opportunity to kind of just mediate and just kind of just listen to all these dudes, man, and just listen to them talk ball, man. So I'm really excited to be here, just kind of reintroducing myself. My name's Nigel Madison. I'm currently the defensive analyst at the University of Oregon, man. So before that, I was at University of Buffalo under some good coaches, man, and got to grow and learn a lot. Before that, I was at FIU for a year. And then before that, I spent 3 years as the defensive line coach at Concordia University, where I also played, man. So I'm so excited once again just to be on here, man, just to listen to all these guys talk, man. It's so much knowledge. We finally got the opportunity to kind of come in here. We always had those like personal phone calls where we would sit on the phone and talk and listen to each other talk. And we just came up with the idea like, we got to let everybody tap in and listen to this one time, man. So I'm super excited to get here and be able to, for you guys to kind of witness the panel and the group of men that I'm able to surround myself with, man. And the biggest thing I can give anybody advice on, it's all about relationships, man. Like where I work every single day, I got to where I'm at truly just solely off of relationships, man. Truly solely off of relationships. And I hear somebody every single day say the same thing over and over and over again. One day that ball gonna go flat. One day the ball ain't gonna be able to, you ain't gonna be able to carry that thing around no more. So your relationships that you build from the time you start this thing to the time you end this thing is very important. And just not the relationship with your coaches, but the relationships with your players, man. So right now, I'm gonna be the guy mediating this thing, right? So we're gonna just start off going through a couple of things. So the way it's gonna go for us right now, we're gonna talk a little bit about press man. We're gonna talk a little bit about off man, right? Then after we get on off man, we're gonna let our safety guys kind of talk about some post safety play, and then a little bit at the end, we're gonna have a little bit of Q&A. Okay, so how that's going to be set up is kind of just like that. So I just ask that you guys please just hold all your questions to the end. We have no problem answering them, right? And then while you guys are on, don't hesitate to retweet this. Don't hesitate to like it. We want to get more and more people on this just so we can have more and more people listen to our panel right now. So just starting off right now, we're going to talk a little bit about press man. First question is going to go to Coach Trey over at Akron right now. So Coach Trey, we kind of talked about this a little bit. But, we kind of like painting pictures and putting guys in situations. So the situation right now, it's a P and 10 situation. It's a 2x2 set, right? We're talking to your field corner right now, right? Receivers aligned on the numbers. What's your progression or what's your coaching points you're giving them on how to play that situation?
So for me, with guys lining up in press man, and right now we're talking 2x2 situation, P and 10. I think it's very important that we understand our alignment, right? How far off you are, what are you taking away? Are you going up there with a plan, right? So what I would tell a guy, let's say we got a freshman, he doesn't know anything, so I'm giving him the guidelines, right? So when he lines up there, I want him to first align himself with his belt buckle on that guy's inside leg. Because what is the easiest throw? The easiest throw is the slant. So we want to be able to take that away, right? Now, he is a freshman, so I would want him to line up about 1.5 to about 2 yards off to wherever he felt comfortable from a depth standpoint. But I want him lining up with his belt buckle on the inside leg, about 1.5 to 2 yards off. And I think that's very important because you want to be able to mirror the release of the receiver, right? So my philosophy when it comes to press man is always eyes, feet, hands, ankles, right, after the alignment. So once he gets in his stance, he has a V in the knees, Z in the body. His eyes are up. They're on the top of the numbers because I want him to be able to see what he's going to hit. Right, I want him to be able to see that breastplate when once that receiver declares his release. I want to be able to see that breastplate, and whether it's an inside release or outside release, I want him to be able to get hands on that guy. Because if you weren't getting hands on the guy, I would just tell you to play off. Right, but everything is always eyes, feet, hands, ankles. Right, so he got his belt buckle on the inside legs. He's 1.5 to 2 yards off. Right, V in the knees, Z in the body, so he has a good bend. Right, his eyes on the right spot. We talk about the feet. His feet are going to move independently. You're not giving too much ground because, like I said, if you're going to give up that much ground, you might as well just play off. So his feet are going to move independent. So every drill that I do, priming him for this situation, is always going to start with feet first. Every drill is always going to start with feet, right? And then we talk about hands. I said I want him to be able to see what he's going to hit. So I want to be able to hit that breastplate. Right, and in that angle, his angle is going to be at a 45-degree cutoff angle. Now, how I would teach this freshman going into this is mindset on the different releases that he'll get. So I would teach him, okay, what is a tight release, right? So I define a tight release as the guy is within the framework of my body, right? So that requires you to use two hands. Right now, let's say the guy gives you a jab and he gets out slightly outside the framework of your body. That's now an open release. Right? So now let's say you get a automatic speed release, right? You can't get any hands on him, right? I call that a wide release. All right, so you have tight, open, wide. So now when he goes up there, he already has a plan, right? Is this guy coming at me directly at me in the framework of my body? If he's coming at me in the framework of my body, I'm getting two hands, right? It's always 2 to 1 to none. All right, I know a lot of guys probably heard that a lot. 2 to 1 to none. The guy's coming directly at me, right? Tight release. I'm shooting two hands at him, right? Now, if that guy gets slightly outside the framework of my body, that open release, that's an offhand jam. So that's going to be your one hand. Now, the guy goes wide. You can't get any hands on him. No hands, right? And now his mindset as we get into these routes now, inside release or outside release. If it's an outside release, I want him to automatically think fade to come back. Right? Protect the deep ball first. All the great corners, the great defensive backs in the game, if you watch Deion Sanders highlights, most of his plays on the deep ball. He understood how to play the deep ball. He understand being on top and leverage, right? So outside release, fade the comeback. That's my mindset. If they throw the comeback should be thrown high and outside away from you on the sideline. If that ball is anywhere inside, it should be an interception, and I'll meet you in the end zone. Right? Now, if you get an inside release, right? Inside release, your mindset is post to dig to curl. Right? And you'll know when you get the post, right? If you get in the post, that guy's trying to separate from you. He doesn't want you to get any hands on him. You're going to get a long stride. And now your mindset is getting on top of this post. You would hear me say top shoulder. I want you to get on that top shoulder. Now, if you get a dig that got inside releases and he goes dig, you're going to feel that him leaning on you, right? You're going to feel some type of collision because now he's going to want to try to create separation by using his body, right? He's not trying to get away from you. Now he's going to try to lean on you to create separation, right? And once you feel that lean, you lean back on him. When he leans on you, you should start to lean back on him, right? And then if he runs a curl, the main thing with that is just being on top. Right. So, but this freshman knows when he lines up P and 10, his first snap of fall camp, right? 2x2. He's the field corner. He knows his alignment, right? On the inside leg. He's about 1.5 to 2 yards off. His eyes are up, top of the numbers, right? He knows once the snap of the ball, his feet active and moving independently, right? He's using his hands, right? Being ready to take that 45-degree cutoff angle, right? We're not opening the gate. We want to be able to slide and stay square. He would hear me harp on that often. Slide and stay square. And once he gets into the release now, outside release, fade, protect the deep one first. Goes inside release, post to dig to curl. Right? All the great defensive backs can cover the deep ball. So this freshman knows going into it. If he gets inside release, think top shoulder to cover that post. Right? You know, if he starts leaning on you, you'll get the dig. Right? He runs the curl, you'll be right on his hip for the curl. Right? Outside release, squeeze that guy out chest to chest, right? And then when he's playing the ball, if the ball's up in the air and they throw a fade to the field receiver, right? Look up and not back, right? Because a lot of times guys look back, and when you look back, you slow down, right? So if you look up, the ball's gonna be up and over the top. I'm coaching you for the perfect throw, right? The perfect throw is when that guy's in stride, right? He's giving you late hands, and it's like, man, like how did he get that ball in there? Look up. If you don't see the ball, now take the air out of that guy. Stay chest to chest, all right? Because you want to be able to deny him the ball, right? And if I don't play chest to chest, I don't know where that guy is, right? So now, but this freshman going into this situation, he understands, right? His alignment, right? He understands his eyes, his feet, his hands, and the angle that he's gonna take, and now how to play these different releases, right? Tight, open, and wide. And then once they get into their route, right? Now, once he goes outside, there's only but so many routes that he can't run, right? Once he goes inside, there's only so many routes that he can run, right? But always protect the deep one first.
Yeah, I
That
like
was beautiful.
that's nice.
That was beautiful.
That's nice. That's how you set it up. That's how you set it up right there. I like that. So, like, next question right now, we're going to go to Coach Knapp right now. So, Coach Knapp, one of the big questions is right now, the situation is 1st and 10, right? You got a 3-by-1 set. What are you coaching your boundary corner, right, to the single receiver side with the ball on the near hash?
Got you. That's going to be hard to follow up after Trey just spit that fire. But like Trey said, I'm going to teach my corner to come to the line with a plan. Whether you're going to inch, whether you're going to mirror motor, whether you're going to take a pure step, whatever your coaching points are, come to the line with a plan. Now, I, as a coach in indie work and summer work, we're going to work each one inch, pure step, to be able to put tools in their toolbox so they can feel comfortable while they're on the field. They are their own player on the field. I'm just giving them the tools. So I can't go out there and say, you got a 6'5" receiver, I got a little corner. Yeah, I can't say, yo, so let's stay at the line and let's play hard press pure step. That would be non-conducive to him, right? So he will probably want to mirror motor, right? But we have to put that in his toolbox. So come to the line with a plan, the same way Coach Trey Bell said, right? Come to the line with a plan. So let's say it's first down. Let's say we're running, we have cover 0. There's no safety help. I want my guy to align outside. I mean, inside, my fault. His outside foot splitting the crotch of the receiver, right? Usually my teach progression is alignment, assignment, key, and first step. So is he aligned right? His alignment is, like I said, splitting the crotch of the receiver. I want to be 1 yard, 1.5 yards off because we were talking about pure step right now. And pure step is just a hard step, 6-inch step with your inside foot piercing your leverage. So my leverage is inside. So I would take a 6-inch step, my inside foot just to get my feet moving, right? It's keeping a hard cliff behind me. So no one would be able to run through me. I'm not inching back, giving ground. I'm going to stay sturdy so I can dictate the receiver's route. Another reason why we press also in the run game is to take off the cracks, take the cracks off the safeties, which people don't really talk about. But if I get my hands on the receiver, that's why we're pressing to take in a run game, take the cracks off the safety. If I get my hands on the receiver, it's going to be hard for that receiver to climb up to the next level to crack our safety without us having the indication that it's a crack replace type of situation, right? Also, we want to press to impede the release of the receiver. We're not pressing at the line to beat up the receiver and, what you see on the 7-on-7 drills or 1-on-1s nowadays when they're yoking the receiver up and ragdoll. No, we want to be able to have an alligator arm. All right. We don't want to keep combating. I want to just shock them and then use my feet. All right. We talk about eyes, feet, hands as a progression. And what I like my guys to look at, we already talked about alignment. My assignment is man. Now we can talk about our key. When I say key, that's where your eyes are placed. All right. So we're in the boundary. I want my guys' eyes to be placed on that inner knee. All right. And why the inner knee? Because, like how everybody has the different culture points. I learned in my days that if you look at the hip, what do guys tend to do? They look at the hip, their eyes go up to the chest. All right. So I'd rather my guys' eyes be on the knee. All right. And then if their eyes do rise, the eyes get to the hip. All right. Where they naturally should be, in my opinion. Right. And also, if I am mirror motoring, inching back, and I'm looking at that inner knee, it's going to tell me where he is stemming. If he's running forward or if he's moving forward towards me, his knee is going to stay straight on the vertical path. If he has to break inside on the slant, he's going to have to pick that knee up and drive it towards the inside of his body. All right. And if he takes the outside release, the same thing is that he has to push that knee across his body. So we have a quick indication on what his release point is. And I'm not going to get into all the releases like the traders talk about the releases. Everybody generally has the same type of release phase, like outside release, tight release, and things like that. I am a 2-to-1 to none believer as well, but we call it a T. So during EDDs, I will have 2 cones, and each player of mine has a different T, which is when you expand your arms as a corner, that's your T. How wide are your arms? So if he gets outside of my T, that's a wide release to me. I can't touch him, so we're not going to touch him. If he's within my frame of our body, yes, now we're 2-to-1 and none. If he's a little bit outside, like outside my T or inside my T, but a far enough release, I can then now shock him with the opposite hand, opposite arm. But we already know, like you said, first down, if we're playing 3-ball on the boundary, if we're blitzing the house, they're going to try to get the ball off quick. So let's talk about a fade ball into the boundary. I want to have my pelvis, my belt buckle to my guy's hip. All right, let's say he takes an outside release. I'm not going to turn over run. I'm going to hit with my inside arm. I'm going to have a 45 kick, and now my pelvis is on his hip. Why? Because if he runs a dig route, take an outside release, let's say we just get him outside, he wants a dig route. He's had to come into my body. He's going to come through me to run his dig. If he has to run a slant, an outside release, counter release slant, he has to take the outside release. If I'm square and my pelvis, my belt buckle is on his hip, he will still have to run through me. Now, if he runs a fade ball, now I'm in perfect position to be able to either lean and locate, right, and or play the back shoulder. And how we play the back shoulder here is we play chest to chest through 20 yards. Because we know at the top of the route, 20 yards, if he's going 20 yards plus, it's a fade ball, right? But nowadays you see quarterbacks get savvy, wide receivers get savvy. If you're on top of the route, they're going to throw a back shoulder. All right, so we want to be able to discourage that. So I tell my guys, if it's 15 plus, if he's running 15 plus, that's when we now pin him to the sideline, squeeze the air, and we lean and locate. Now, if it's anywhere besides 15 plus, we're playing pelvis to hip relation, and we're playing chest to chest. And we want to play through the cookie jar. If fade ball comes, we call it the cookie jar, raking through the inside arm, trying to get the ball out of the cookie jar. All right, I talked about that in my Wonder Zoom space. All right, and Coach Nigel, I know you said to the boundary, but I'm gonna talk about the field too. Now, let's say we to the field. All right,
bro, ain't no roll with it.
I'm gonna roll with it. Let's say we're to the field, right? All right, that's a farther throw. I want to have my guy. Maybe I want my man to play mirror motor. All right, he's gonna play mirror motor because he has a little bit more time for that throw to develop. It's a further throw, and we usually know that the X receiver to the outside on a 3-by-1 set ball into the boundary, he's not getting the ball. It's a far throw for a quarterback, especially at our level in the FCS. Some quarterbacks can rip it, but I want him to be a little bit more patient and not be able to play pure step to the field in that per se. I would rather him play off, but we're talking about press man. He could take it, he could inch back, but I would want him to be outside leverage, right? Because what the quarterback is not throwing from the hash a 40-yard fade ball opposite hash to the ticks, you know. So I want to play outside leverage because now I'm expecting in breaking routes. All right. And I'm just going to talk about one route in particular. Let's say he runs a slant. The way I teach my guys how to break on a slant, obviously it's the same way. We're going to be on the top field shoulder. But once we are driving on a slant, I want to aim for the downfield shoulder to be able to flatten out that receiver's route. All right. Once you flatten out the receiver's route, it's all about the timing of the quarterback and receiver. The quarterback's expecting the receiver to climb up and get a little bit of a real slant look rather than you're driving on a downfield shoulder. Now you're making his aim point go towards like he's running an under. So either the ball's going to be misthrown or the ball's going to come right to you because you are going to be where the receiver should be in a slant phase, if that makes sense. But I know I just went rogue because I'm only supposed to answer the boundary, but that's my answer for that question, Coach Madison.
Hey, I like that, bro. I like that. I especially like the attacking the downfield shoulder. That's clean. That's how you flatten out a route. So now the next question we're gonna get into is for Coach Vaughn right now, right? So, Coach Vaughn, we understand the game is all about situations, right? What's the situation? What's the moment, right? So we're in a 2-minute drill situation, right? What are you saying to your corner that's playing press right now to him? What's your coaching points? What is going in his head right now that you've taught him in
Right.
this situation in this time?
Okay, now this can get very detailed, but I'm gonna try to make it short because it could be two different kind of 2 minutes. Now it could be a 2 minute where hey, it's a 2 minute. We trying to get this ball back. They up 7 points. We trying to get this ball back so we can score. Or there could be a 2 minute where we are the score. We up 7 points. Now they trying to drive, right? So I'm gonna use it where we trying to get the ball back. So now this is just regular defense. Now we not playing top down. We trying to match every route, window every route, trying to get off the field, right? So I'm telling my guy where, like I said, I'm a big fan of the pierced up kick slide too. Now I learned that from Coach Money Kiffin. He coached at Tampa Bay Buccaneers for a long time, won Super Bowls there. So that's where I kind of learned this from, and that's what I was taught when I was a player too. So same thing with me. I kind of teach guys where we inside leverage. So I want his leverage foot. When I say leverage foot, whichever foot that's on the ball, I want my crotch to split him. So I'm gonna be head up, slightly inside. So I don't believe in kind of motor or kind of inching back. I believe in pierced up, kick stuff where I'm staying square and I'm a kick slide, lateral, 45 lateral. I'm never gonna open my hip. So I don't like motoring because, and that's my opinion, because I feel like you more guessing than reacting. I want to react. I don't want to guess. I don't want to guess who's gonna go. I'm gonna react. So the reason we do pitch step, kick step. So my pitch step is my motor. So my pitch step, I call that the patient step. The same reason y'all motor back to see the release, I call that the pitch. So I'm a pitch step, kick slide. So I'm kick slide, 45 either way, inside or outside. But I'm gonna dictate where that release gonna go. So that's why I want to line up inside. Then I'm gonna pitch that with my leverage foot. What is a leverage foot, Coach Vaughn? Leverage foot is wherever that ball is. That's just my leverage foot. That's my dominant foot. So if the ball on the defensive right hash and I'm the left side receiver, I should be pitched that with my right foot, right? So I'm with my right foot now, and I'm a fan of the 2-to-1-9 too. And I always believe now you always not gonna get two hands on, but you should get some kind of hands on because of how we plan our technique. We not motoring back, we not giving space, so we want to slow down this release, all right? So, and the big thing I always tell my players when you walk up in the line, know your leverage. So I start with stance, get your stance, your alignment, what's your alignment, and then your leverage. Where your leverage? Where's your help? Where I'm gonna win at? So if it's man to man where we in our quarters, I want you inside leverage. Your leverage, your help is that sideline. If we in cover 3, okay, you head up inside, you still got help inside. But now we in man to man with a middle field safety. Now you outside. So the dictator what the call is, know your leverage, know your stance. So like I'm the same word, eyes, feet, hands. But when it comes to me, I always want pitch step, kick step. So if I get a speed release, I still want a pitch step, kick step, 2-to-1-9, no matter what. So when I say 2-to-1-9, I mean I want 2 hands on, and then once you release, I want to get to 1 hand to no hand. A lot of kids like to grab and run down the field. At some point, I want my hands to be free so I can match his hand and I can run. A lot of guys like to have 1 hand running, 1 hand grabbing the shirt. I don't believe in that, right? And I'm a player's coach. I would never tell my player nothing that I can't do now, right? So I believe in that. So when I walk up to the line, if it's 2-minute situation, we trying to get the ball back, I'm trying to defend every route. You trying to get every route defended, right? So now I'm playing inside leverage. I'm pinched up and kissed up 2-to-1-9, and I'm trying to shut down everything, winning on my leverage. So like I said, I'm thinking where we trying to get the ball back. I'm in my quarter situation. So now my help is to the sideline. So I'm trying to force everything to my help. Now, if there's a man-to-man where we got midfield safety, now, hey, I might still line up inside, but I know my help is. So now when he do all the releasing, I'm going to kick slide to try to get outside leverage so now I can use my post safety help there, right? So my whole mindset is when you, as a DB coach, I want you to line up, get your stand, get your alignment, and then where's my help? Where's my leverage? Where, if I lose on some kind of route, where's my help? So if it's cover 3, I'm fine when I'm losing on the slant. I have a linebacker right there. But I want to squeeze everything now. If he run a dig, I still want to squeeze everything. So when, in my mindset, when it's 2 minutes, now it can be different when it's 2 minutes and we up. Not everything going to be, hey, I'm playing soft. I'm not breaking on no kind of routes because I don't want double moves, and I'm going to tackle everything. But what I'm talking about now is more, well, we want to match every route and then winning your leverage. So like I said, I'm the same thing with 2-1 and none, pitch that, kick slot, forcing everything to the sideline. But it's kind of harder when you're trying to win on every route when it comes to that now. But and the one thing I do believe in is knowing where the ball can go at. I feel like if the middle field is closed, the ball's coming to the outside no matter what. If it's a middle field safety, that ball coming to the outside. Now, if it's a middle field open where it's 2 out safety and we like a quarter some, the ball coming to the middle of the field. So in my mind, I'm dictating, okay, I'm looking, okay, now look, we in man-to-man now. Middle field closed, this ball coming to me. I'm the corner, this ball coming to me. Now if the middle field open, I'm thinking, okay, now this route could be going to the middle field because all of the offensive coordinator, the quarterback know this ball is going to the middle field because the middle field is open. So I kind of dictate that with my alignment too. But I like to think stance, alignment, and then leverage, knowing where your help is. Like, a lot of guys like to play every route. I'm fucking winning on my leverage and where my one person can't fucking cover everybody, but 11 people can. You know what I'm saying? So I like to use everybody on the field and then utilize where my help at. So that's how I had it. I had him play just like a regular 2-1 none, stand square, never open the gate. I don't believe open the gate. I don't believe in motoring back, which is a good changeup. I don't believe that. If we're gonna do that, we're just gonna press bail or play off and scooch, which I'm the best in the country at, because I'm the fucking scooch guru when it comes to that, right?
Talk to him.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like everything should be lateral, everything should be challenged at the line, because no free release, and everything is timing. I mean, like, D-line running, O-line, D-line humming, freaking linebacker, same thing. Everything is timing. So I want to get hands-on. I want to mess up the release and mess up timing. Everything is timing in college football. Like I said, so the way I attack that is playing my same technique I played in 1st and 10 in the fucking first play of the game, stand square, 2-1 none, kick sliding, using my hands and stand lateral. But number one thing, you cannot open the gate and give them a free release. Appreciate you there, Coach.
Yeah, Vaughn, I like you talking like that.
Yes, sir.
Hey, yes, sir. Hey, so now we're about to get into the next segment of our talk, right? Where we're going to talk a little bit more about off-man, right? So we're going to get into our young dog getting his first opportunity to kind of step out and speak. So he kind of introducing himself to y'all. So we're going to get it to Coach J. Codd right now. So J. Codd, the kind of question is for you, how are you teaching your corner off-man technique in a red zone?
Appreciate it, Coach. And like I said, man, I want to say, man, appreciate y'all tapping in again. And Vaughn, man, you were crazy. It's crazy, man. I knew Vaughn since like high school. We played in the same All-Star game in high
Yes,
school
sir.
senior year. Same
Already.
All-Star game, you know what I'm saying? So we've been tapped in. So I love that. Get the energy going. But let me get right into it. So when we talk about off-man down in the red zone and our regular off-man in the field, things kind of get a little bit different when we go down in the red zone. So for me, I teach my guys, I tell them, I want to change it up, because a lot of times guys get down into the red zone and we press, like Coach Vaughn talked about. He don't like when guys inch back or motor back. I don't like when guys go down and motor back and not use their hands and anything. So I tell them, let's play catch. So I like to play catch, man, down in the low red. So when I say low red, I mean like 10 and in, 5 yards and in, etc. So pretty much we like to start out at a comfortable stance. I like my guys to be comfortable, you know what I'm saying, feet shoulder width apart, and be able to have a good center of gravity. We work cliff technique during pre-practice, post-practice, and sometime during our indie. When I say cliff technique, I explain to these guys that, like, we don't want to back up in the end zone. Like, we never want to back up in the end zone. We always want to align heels at 3 yards or heels at the goal line. Whatever you choose or whatever you feel comfortable with. A cliff technique now is more the sense like if you're on the edge of a cliff, you don't want to back up or else you're gonna fall. You're gonna fall. So I tell guys this, man: you back up into the end zone, you're getting scored on, you're getting out of the game. Simple as that. Because I harp on, don't back up in the end zone, don't back up in the end zone, don't back up in the end zone. Because what they're not understanding is that you inch up into the back of the end zone, all the receiver has to do is run and stop at the goal line, and that's a touchdown. Seconds, because things get so fast when we come down to the red zone. So now we talk about alignment. I like to tell my guys, we line up inside leverage in a 1 or slightly head up in a 0. Now you guys may ask me, what's a 1 or a 0? What's the difference? For me, I tell my guys a 1 is when you line up inside leverage slightly on his inside eye. You know what I'm saying? You want your foot on his outside foot. Your inside foot on his outside foot. I mean, my bad. Your outside foot on his inside foot, because we want to protect the inside leverage when we're down at the goal line right there. Now, when you line up head up, I want you to be face to face with him. So as now, I tell them move on to the eyes. You want your eyes on the wide receiver's hip and be patient. I want active feet. And like I said, I'm going to keep saying this because I need it to be understood. Do not back up in the end zone. And as the game goes on, and you know how competition becomes, as a guy starts pressing guys' cushion, a lot of times they start panicking. I like to tell my guys, just relax, breathe, and stay patient. Stay patient. It's only so much routes he can run down here. In order for him to run a slant route, if he's at 5 yards, after them 3 steps, man, he makes that break step, he's gonna be at the goal line. That route got to break going into the end zone. So if you're backing up in the end zone, that's an easy catch and throw. Touchdown. Now, we hold our line and we hold our ground. I tell them within 1 to 2 yards of your cushion, where that wide receiver is closing in on your cushion, you want to be active feet. And as he's closing your ground, as they talk about 2 to 1 to none, it's the same concept when we come down here. Because as he's closing down, if you're head up and he's closing head up, you can 2-hand jam. So I tell my guys park. And I tell them park because we like to punch, absorb, that's A, and carry. So punch, absorb, and carry. So I teach that in that sense because once he's closing my cushion, when I punch, guys punch or get hands on or try to collide a guy doing catch man, and they push themselves away from the guy. They create separation. I don't want to create separation down in the red zone at all. At all. So when I punch, I want to absorb his momentum. I want to absorb his force. Once I absorb his force, then I'm going to carry him to the route. Carry him wherever he's going. Active feet, punch, absorb, and then carry. Now when we carry, we talk about routes. A lot of times we get down in the red zone, we might get slant. We might get a slant return. We might get a dig route in the back of the end zone. And we probably going to get fade. 9 out of 10, we're going to get fade. I tell my guys, we talked about this earlier. A couple of my other guys touched on it. You know what I'm saying? We want to be able to be chest to chest because we already want to take away that back shoulder throw. It's easier for me to play the back shoulder chest to chest because even if you're a fade comeback, a lot of undisciplined DBs and undisciplined corners that got bad eyes get beat on that a lot because once they get fade, they'll push step and try to beat the receiver to the spot. You beat the receiver to the spot, man, you're leaving the back shoulder wide open. I could play any of the routes down in that red zone when I'm chest to chest. The slant, he runs a slant. If I'm holding my ground at the goal line, once he breaks that route, he should be able to come through me. He has to go through me. So now I can close that route down. Go for a fade ball. I'm playing chest to chest. I can check the sky. Once I check the sky and I don't see the ball on a fade, I can now turn my head the other way. That's easier to turn my head the other way than being able to already be squeezing the man and put your back to the receiver. Now imagine putting your back to the receiver, checking for the sky, and the ball is coming low and behind you. That's almost impossible to try to turn around and make a play on that. And 9 times out of 10, that's what happens because the guys, they get in phase and they look up really fast. Down here, man, you want to play chest to chest and just be very aggressive. Hold your ground. Like I said, within 1 to 2 yards, we call park. Punch, absorb, carry. That's all I got for y'all about my catch man down in the red zone.
Yeah, I hear you talking, young bull. There you go. Hey, once again, that's just one of our young dogs, man, that just kind of came apart, man, and just kind of tagged along with us, man, and he's just been a blessing just to have him here. So next question, right? We're gonna get into Coach Keelan Brookins right now. So we know the game of football, right? The ball isn't too much in the middle of the field that much, but when it is, right? When it is, Coach Brooks, what are you teaching your corners while playing an off-man technique when the ball's in the middle of the field?
Ooh, off-man technique, ball in the field. First off, I must say, our corner coaches that went first, y'all snapped. Y'all did y'all thug dizzle with it. I do know if y'all lined up with me with those techniques, I would definitely took y'all deep in high school and in college. But that's a whole different conversation for a different day. But as far as off-man technique with the ball in the middle of the field, depending on the set, I think each corner is different. You can't coach every single corner the same. You got to figure out what the strengths are, especially with off-man, because off-man is such a unique technique that we work on. I believe in either you're going to play off-man as from a zone concept, or you play off-man from a catch off-man. I don't always like to pedal my guys because it's always hard to teach guys to transition their pedal and pedal back fast. But it goes back for each corner. Each corner is very different. So I'm going to cater to what they need and what's going to be most successful for them so they can be out there and be their best every Saturday. The first thing I'm going to do is make sure alignment is right. I'm a big 1x7 off the man. Make sure you're protecting the side because you got to be able to hold off through all windows. And then I'll make sure your eyes right with your keying. The first thing I want you to key the quarterback to your man. So your first steps, your punch off your outside foot, pushing back so you protect your inside leverage while you're keying the quarterback, reading 3-step, 5-step drop back. Depending on that drop back, you go back your eyes to your man and key off his release and key off his releasing point. I teach my corners based off 3 releases that you get. The first release you're going to get is a +1 on top of the numbers. With those routes come with digs, your curls. It's creating spacing and level concepts for the quarterback to work through. So you get those type of releases, you're understanding that those routes are not going to be 30 yards, 40 yards, 80 yards down the field. They're more so coming down right through that top of the numbers, +1 on top of it. Curl, dig, post, things like that nature. If you get a +2, that's the dramatic inside release where they're going about 3 yards on top of the numbers. That's where you're more so getting your out routes. They're not going to run a +2 type route going in with another in-breaking route because it's going to throw off the spacing with the other receivers that's coming through. And then the last route, the release that you get based on the route would be the -1 bottom of numbers, and that's where you get your goals, you get your comebacks. And at that point, you're basically going in phase, out of phase with the same thing that the corner coaches talked about earlier. So when I'm teaching my guys, we're punch, got our 3-step, 5-step read. If it's a 5-step, when I've watched my film set instead of all type of receivers, elite receiver, it takes him 2 seconds to get 10 to 12 yards down the field. Majority receivers, high school receivers, college receivers, 8 to 12 seconds. They're 8 to 12 yards. They're 2 seconds down the field. So it takes 2 seconds down the field, 2 seconds to get 8 to 12 yards down the field. But elite receiver takes them 2 seconds to get 10 to 12 yards on the field. So you got to understand that with the timing of the routes. If you get a really good receiver, most of their breaking points at the top of the route is coming between 8 to 12 yards. A deeper route, you get more timing, more protection, all that. But receivers and corners, we got to always know what type of receiver we're going against. If it's a receiver that's going to be a blazer, where he's going to get up on my toes fast, I want to punch. I want to be able to, with the time I take my second punch, he should be about 8 yards. So that means he's about 2.5 yards away from me based on my punches. So I can start opening my hips to be able to sit down underneath his inside knee and get on his hip to understand where he's trying to get to in his routes. And based on that, you're teaching your corners, okay, what type of concepts are you going to get based on a team you're playing against? It's a team that takes shots. It's a team that wants the high-low concepts. It's a team that wants the outside receiver more. But you get a middle of the field set, you're probably going to work more insides because the outside throws are going to be out balls. They're going to come across the field, and they're going to come underneath. So when you go with a corner that has the ball in the middle of the field, you want to make sure that they understand where they're comfortable and where they're confident at. Are they going to play man from a zone concept? Are they going to play man as a true man? If they're playing true man with their head inside key in the quarterback, make sure that their eye progression is correct. And then if they're getting hands-on, because you can't let a receiver blaze down you at full speed and then be able to sit down. So, like I said, each corner is different for me. I'm never going to coach any corner the same because that's doing a disservice to them. But you want to make sure they're in the best position, that you're supporting them to be the best on the field when it comes on Saturdays.
There you go. I like that. So we're going back to Coach Vaughn right now. So Coach Vaughn, right? We're gonna talk about off-man still, 2x2 set. You know, what are you coaching that boundary corner when the ball's on the near hash right now, right? What are you coaching him in an off-man situation in that moment?
Why would you give me off man when I told you I'm a press corner type of guy? I'm just
I
messing
gotta
with
hear you talk, bro.
No doubt. Like so, for me, I like to say don't be in no man's land. That's where you're pressing her off. So when I say no man's land, that's between no man's land for me between 2 to 6 yards. That's no man's land. Don't be in no man's land. So I'm thinking for me, I want you at 7 yards, right? 7 yards, but I want your eyes to start somewhere other than the receiver. So the quarterback don't know what coverage you're in. You just stand at receiver. Well, damn, everybody in the damn stadium know you playing man to man. You have that man. So for me, I like to have my corners to have their eyes somewhere else, not just around the defense. So I either tell him, hey, you have your eyes at the quarterback. When your eyes at the quarterback, what you want to do, you clearing the quick game now. So you know, hey, you at the boundary, that's the easiest throw. That's where the ball come at most, especially when you're 3-by-1, you the single receiver, that's where that ball going at, right? So you the single X, whatever. So I want my guy is at 7 yards, inside foot up, right? Inside foot up, but I want his eyes at the quarterback. And there were to come the scoop step. It's 2 rules why I give them. I either give them the scoop step or screw technique. The screw technique is now your ass is already to the sideline and you already gonna get into your crossover run, right? So just start over if we scooching. So your scooch technique, I want you to give me 2 or 3 clean scooch. And what that do is clear the quick game. So now if you scooching and he run a 3-step slant, your first step should break before his because now you already moving your feet instead of just playing flat-footed, right? Like more like a red zone step, like Jay Carr said. So I want of a scooch technique. So now your first 3 scooch steps, he run any kind of quick game, you should be breaking as soon as he break. Now the transition where if you get a couple scooch steps and he's still running your routes, now you got to get in your full down pedal, right? So now you got to know as a corner, if I'm off man, it's 2 things I'm gonna get. I'm gonna get quick game or I'm gonna get double move because they know that your eyes at the quarterback, right? So that's something that I'm gonna tell my guys. Okay, look, you playing off man. First of all, don't be in fucking no man's land. Have room, have vision, right? But then know once you break on that slant, you breaking on him. Don't break on the quarterback. You breaking on him, and then you break on the ball. So break on the route, then break on the ball, knowing that what you can get is double moves or quick game because you're playing off, right? So like I said, the reason I scoot step is because I'm already at 7 yards. I scoot step, so that's gonna get me 3 scoot steps, gonna get me to 10 yards. So now I get to 10 yards. So now he's pushing up. By the time I get in my pedal, I'm at like the 15-yard range. Every route breaks between 12 and 15 yards now, unless it's a vertical. But any kind of breaking inside, outside breaking route between 12 to 15 yards. So that's why I always believe in scoot step, because that's basically the same thing as a passing step or a pure step at the line. I never feel like you just get into a pedal and just run out of there because that's when the quick game gets you. So for me, like I said, first of all, don't line up in no man's land. And then I'm going to start with my eyes at the quarterback to clear the quick game. And then once that quick game is cleared, now, once he do break any kind of routes, I want to break with eyes on the man. And then once I break on the route, then I look at the quarterback. Once I break on the route, knowing that that's going to come. And then knowing, okay, it's no quick game. Now you're pushing up the field. Where this route finna get broken? It's gonna get broke between 12 to 15 yards. So don't panic if you get in your screw step and he didn't break it. Just get in your regular pedal, right? Or we teach them where you in the screw technique, where now you already your ass to the sideline. Now you have vision on everything. So when your ass to the sideline already now your eyes should be from the quarterback straight to man. Now you in a crossover run. Now you stand low, eyes on hips, and you just breaking off that man right there. So a lot of stuff I don't believe. I think if it was up to me, I'll press every time. But then it's times where you don't have to press because of down the distance or, like you said, single legs, whatever case may be. But I think if you play off man, you have to have great feet, great eyes, and then knowing what's gonna hurt you. What's gonna hurt you is quick game. If it's first and 10, okay, quick game might hurt you. No, you gotta just go tackle it. But you gotta have great eyes and great vision when it comes to that, and then knowing what technique I'm gonna use. Either I'm gonna have scooch or I'm gonna screw. Don't want to do both. You don't want to turn your back in the middle of the rep. So either you're gonna have your ass to the sideline and have everything in front so you can have vision, or you're gonna scooch first, take them first scoop steps, which I think the scoop step is just like the press step in cover 2. It's just that's why I don't believe in just inching back. I don't believe in just pedaling off there. Read the tempo, read the release. What if you do a three-step slant? Scooch first, and then you could break on route. So with me, I think my off man, I give him two tools that either screw technique or scooch. And then if you scooching, I want 3 scooch for you getting your pedal. But I don't want your eyes locked in on that receiver. I want your eyes locked in on that quarterback. And then once you clear a quick game, then your eye get to receiver and you fucking play your man because that's your man. That's your job.
I hear you talking, Vaughn. Now hold on, we got a couple more. We got a couple more of our DB coaches that just want to chime in because they want a couple of off man pointers. So jump in real quick. B Nat, Kai, you can jump in real quick.
Yeah,
Let me.
yeah, I'm about to say, go ahead, young buck. You got it.
No, I want to piggyback on Coach Vaughn real quick. about just his progression with the reading the quarterback's throw and everything like that, man. Because that's something that's super big that I feel like a lot of guys don't utilize to their game. But I feel like that's something that really helped me as a player to be able to read that quick game throw, or whether it's a if he's in a shotgun and that 3-step drop back, whether you know what I'm saying, or if it's catch and throw. So what I usually tell my guys during Indy is that we work this all the time, and pretty much for us, I line up 3 guys and 3 corners at the same time. We all got our inside foot up because that's where the ball is at. We're usually reading the quarterback, so I tell them to be able to see the receiver and see the quarterback. So I don't say look at the quarterback. We look like in a midpoint where now my peripheral, I can see out of my right eye and my left eye at the same time. So that means once I see this quick game motion, I should still be able to see this receiver pressing me vertical. So I tell them, we start off with our first. I do read step. I don't really teach scooch, but I'm not like not open to the idea because I play both ways as well. So when I teach my guys, we go like slow back pedals, like slow steps backwards. So we always go through a progression where we take our first step backwards and I break them. So I say, read, break. That's the first step. Then we do 2 breaks. Now we do 2 steps, 1, 2, and break again. We do 3 steps and we go through like that. First step, 2 steps, 3 steps. By the time that 3rd step comes, you should already be able to read whether that's a quick game or not. You should already see if that receiver is pressing you vertical or not, whether that quarterback shoulder is up. And I don't tell guys to break once his shoulder is up because they can always put his shoulder up for quick game and pump fake that. I want you to break once his hands come off that ball. His hand come off that ball, then you know he's about to release that football. That's when we want to break and then get our eyes to our receiver. Now, through our progression that we go through in Indy, like I said, we go through our first step, our second step, and our 3rd step. On our 3rd, then we got another progression. I told those guys, after we do our 3 steps, your eyes should no longer even be looking towards the quarterback. You should be locked in on your wide receiver now because it's no longer a quick game. So we work all of them. So then we go, once we finish our 3 steps, we'll do 1 slow, 3 slow. Then I tell them to verbally say the words no. Once we say no, then we just get into a back pedal. We get into a more controlled back pedal, and then we can be able to play deeper routes. Because once we see that guy take steps backwards, we already know that quarterback takes steps backwards. We know that route's no longer nothing under 5 yards or 5 yards and under. We know that these wide receivers are going vertical. So now I want to say no and snap my eyes straight to my receiver, get into a controlled pedal. That's what we work.
That's what's up. I like that. I like that. I like that a lot right there. For me, Coach Bell here at Akron, the main thing for me is, and it's similar to yours, Kai. Everything for us starts with a read pedal. So even when I do my drills, the drills start with a read pedal. So everything is always read, then speed, right? When I was a player, one of my coaches taught me pedal race. So that's where we get into a pedal race, right? So everything is read and speed. Now, as far as eyes, your eyes are locked in on your man. Because when those guys are in man-to-man, their job is to deny their man the ball. You're not worried about anything else. If your man don't catch the ball, that's the only thing that you're worried about, right? So for us, everything is read speed, right? And like you said, it's to gauge the tempo of the receiver. So when you do your drills, for all you coaches in here, when you do your drills, when you do read speed, when you do tempo, everything like that, like that's training those guys to be able to control their pedal, right? Those guys got to be able to control their pedal, right? So now if the guy's working vertical at me, you're not going to flip until that guy gets about 3 yards away from you. Once he gets 3 yards away from you, now you want to pin your chin to your shoulder, right? Rip that arm closest to the receiver, rip that arm all the way through, right? And then get into a crossover run, right? So now there is no half open with me, right? Because once you get half open and the guy gives you 2 moves at the top of his route, you're going to go for that first move, right? So now you give the guys tools like head flip, speed turn, baseball turn, like once the guy gets in your blind spot. But for me, we talk about off-man progression. Everything goes from read to speed, right? Once you feel like that guy gets within 3 yards of your cushion, now you fully open, right? We never want to get caught in a half open situation, right? If you feel like that guy gets in your blind spot, so if you open towards your man, right, and he gets inside of you, now you got a speed turn, right? Now, that's when you're in your crossover run. Now, if this guy is still and you're still in your pedal and he hasn't hit that 3 yard mark, now if he's trying to stem you, weave, right? You want to gain that leverage back, right? If that guy's just working vertical, stay in your pedal, right? So now if you get any quick game or anything like that, you can break on it, right? With your T step. All right. Now the intermediate throws. So if they throw a slant, they throw a dig, if they throw a curl, anything like that. When we talk about finish, breaking on the ball, right? Shoot and not swipe. A lot of guys kind of swipe, and all that's doing is helping the receiver catch the ball. You're giving the quarterback a window to fit that ball in there, right? I want you to secure the tackle first, shoot your hand through, and you got to work drills on that. Like when we talk about this stuff, a lot of this stuff takes reps because we're talking about teaching a freshman, right? We're talking about teaching a freshman. This is first day of fall camp, right? Giving him things that he can learn and he can apply day one, right? Because we all in here, we all want to be great coaches. We're not great coaches without developing great players, right? We want our players to be all American, all conference, right? That's how we eat. But when we talk about the top of the route, the finish, right? We talk about shooting and not swiping, right? So they know shoot that hand through there, and that's something that they can take back when they watch film on their own, right? So when we talk about off man, read, speed, right? And when you open, it's never a half open, it's a full open, right? Ripping that elbow through, pinning your chin to your shoulders. So now you're not high. So if that guy tries to lean on you, you're not giving, right? You're not giving. You're able to fight that pressure with pressure, right? And then when we talk about that finish on deep routes, it's the same thing we talked about before, chest to chest, right? And when we talk about the deeper routes, right? A fade, anything like that, being in phase or out of phase. When he watches film, he needs to know, okay, I'm in phase right here. Why do you know you're in phase? I define in phase as being step for step down the field with the receiver, right? How do you know you're out of phase? When the receiver now has one step on you. Not like, oh, okay, oh, coach, I'm right there. No. He has a step on you. You are now beat, right? So if you're in phase, the first coaching point is being poised. Be poised in that situation, right? And that comes with reps, right? The next situation, now you go from being poised, being in that situation, to squeezing that receiver out chest to chest. Receivers are taught to have the own that fade line, right? They want the quarterback to throw them into the fade, right? Now you're squeezing that receiver out. Squeeze that guy to the sideline. Like if you take him out while the ball's in the air. That's legal, right? Now squeezing chest to chest and then looking up and not back. I talked about that before. Because if you look back, you're going to slow down. You're going to automatically put yourself out of phase, right? And now guys need to know how to play out of phase because this does happen. We're not going to act like we all just perfect in here and your guys don't get out of phase. My guys know when you're out of phase, that guy now has a step on you, right? He has a step on you. The first coaching point to that is run. Flat out, run. Because what's the first thing that everybody else do? They look back. Second coaching point is do not look back, right? The third coaching point is find his hands. You got to find where his hands are. And then that last coaching point is violently take away the outside hand. I want to emphasize violently because if you go in there soft, you're just going to help him catch the ball. Violently take away that outside hand, right? And I think when we go about these coaching points, make sure we coach our guys on the finish.
Coach Bill, I got one question for you. You talked about your finish and your drills and all that. Do you specifically do drills like that day on we're going to work this part of it, then we're going to work the middle of the route, then we're going to work the finish of the route? And do you work drills when you're opened up and you're working on that break? Because that's such an unconventional break for us when our hips are open.
Mm-hmm. So when you talk about playing the routes, like the shoot and not swiping, those type of drills, I would work pre-practice or post-practice, always, every day. Every day I always got something pre-practice or post-practice. But when you talk about like actually covering the routes, something that I like to get into is kind of just going through the route tree with the guys pre-practice. So they know the footwork, right? Everybody knows, all right, first rep hitch. When we go through it, then slant, then curl, then dig, then the last one is fade. Right, and then got to make sure you work on the post because I talked about before the speed turner when that guy getting your blind spot. That's an unconventional position to be in, like we talked about. But But when I work those drills, it's always pre-practice or post-practice. A lot of times that's going to be the finish on that will be post-practice. But when we talk about covering those routes, that's something that I would like to do in practice. Because they got to be able to know how to cover the routes. Like I need them to know, okay, if I get a speed out, if I get a dig, if I get a curl, this is how we're going to cover it. But they know, and any of those intermediate routes, shoot, don't swipe.
I like that. One last thing, being that before I let you go. The one thing I really say, like working those routes, teaching your guys the routes during practice. I definitely walk through the routes with my guys and make them walk through it on air before practice. So they understand the steps on how they should break on the angles. But I definitely like what you were speaking.
One thing I noticed. Yeah, look, Kyle and Q, we gonna get to you. Y'all got the whole floor when the safeties go. I just want to talk about Trey did a great job talking about the eyes. Keelan got a great job with the question. I just have one thing. All right, so when we talk about the eyes, I learned this at a camp I went to Rutgers. Coach Fred Brown out of Georgia. They talk about the peak zone, and I love that. We're not going to look. All right, let's say we're driving on a dig. All right, most young corners or DBs, once they plant break and then they declare their route, okay, they're running a dig, their eyes go where? Straight to the quarterback, losing the receiver. The receiver is going to keep running, and he's going to know where he's going. We don't know where the receiver's going, so we have to keep our eyes on the hips of the receiver. So my coaching point on that is I tell my kids, and I want to relate to my kids the best way I can relate to them. I ain't saying no one's a robber or anything, but I'm saying you see everybody watches a movie. When you rob somebody, we're robbing the quarterback, right? When you rob somebody, you can't rob somebody from 10 feet away. They're going to run. They're going to run away from you. Something's going to happen. You're not going to be able to catch them, right? When you want to take away or rob somebody and you're up on them, now I can get what I want. So we talk about robbing and quarterback. We want to be close in phase enough to touch them. I want to be able to touch the receiver on his hip. Now look back for the ball, all right? And I do something on drills where I train my guys' eyes, where whenever they break, there's another DB standing as we're going through the routes. Like I was saying, we do the same thing we just did today, going through transitions, but we have pop-ups. We use the pop-ups to get around the bags to act like a receiver in our blind spot. Now, when they break, there will be another DB on the side, like on the dig route, and they're going to flash their hand like a 5, 4, 3, 2, or 1, like a number, flash the number, and the DB that's doing the drill is forced to scream the number 3. So I know his eyes are right. Then he snaps back and gets the ball. I'm not throwing the ball unless he says the number, because now I know his eyes are right. And that's how I train my guys' eyes. Anything, if they breaking on the slant, there's gonna be somebody there to give them a number 2. All right. When they see the number, they say the number. Now they're looking back for the ball, indicating that they got to the receiver's hip. I think eyes and driving and breaking on balls is great, but we always gotta have our eyes in the right spot. We cannot look back at the quarterback for the ball unless we're in phase the same way these other DB coaches talked about it.
Hey, I just want y'all to know that's just a sample of like what we do on a daily basis, bro. That's what I'm talking about. So right now we about to get into a little bit more safety play real quick. We just want to give a shout out to the Broadcast 29. They're live streaming us right now. So you guys, if you miss anything, you can go back, get notes, man, and you can go back and listen to all of that. But right now, we're just going to get into the safety play a little bit more. So we're going to hear now from Coach Wiggs. So Coach Wiggs, kind of the situation is it's a 2x2 set. Tell me how you're coaching your safety while playing off man, right?
Finally, I get to get on the mic. Golly. So now I'm blessed to be around some good coaches. So we get a 2x2 set here, all right? It depends on who we got in the slot now. Starting off with a receiver, okay, a fast guy. So I teach a scooch tech. Some people call it scooch to catch. I just call it scooch. 3 phases, okay? Phase 1, you got to make sure we're outside leverage. And by outside leverage, I mean put your inside foot on his outside foot. A lot of times, like corners, when you're pressing, you can kind of split the man because it's close quarters. For us, I want you to be completely outside, because if you split the difference and if you split his crotch, all he has to do is take a step outside now, and now we're stacked again, and now we're at disadvantage. So I want your outside foot to be on your inside foot on his outside foot now. So now I know where outside leverage, and if he wants to go out, he has to go through you. All right? So that's part 1. We want the inside foot back. The reason being, now if we have to break out, that plant foot is already back, and we can get a quicker transition to get on the out route there. All right? So we want your toes at 5. Why do we want you at 5? Because most routes from the slot are declaring at around 6 yards. So now we know we can contact it around 7. All right. By contact, I mean making sure you take the charge. All right. So at max, I want you to get 3 scooches. So those 3 scooches will bring you back to 7 from that 5 mark that you started on. All right. When I tell you to scooch, I don't want that front foot to come off the ground. You will keep it on the ground. We got to really be playing go. All right. So we want 3 scooches max. Then we settle and we kick into them or take the charge. All right. By take the charge, make your body just like basketball. Get your body in the way of him, so you make him either go through you or around you. If he goes around you now, well, now we're at a good place here. If he goes through you, the route's done. He's not getting the ball. Like a couple of the coach said earlier, it's all about timing. Most of the time you get your hands on the slot, the time is messed up, and now we did our job. All right. If we take the charge now, he gets around us, and he wants to stem a little bit earlier now, well, then we can settle. You don't have to get those 3 scooches, and we can just settle down now, and now we can kick into him. All right. So that's just the first phase, getting ready to get to phase 2. Okay. Moving into phase 2 now. I call it melting to the man. I like saying melt because when you say stop his progress or put your hands on him, a lot of the young guys will end up pushing that man away, and now we're at a disadvantage. I want you to melt him. So I want you to actually catch him. Think of it like a baseball mitt. When the ball hits in the mitt gives a little bit, right, and stops the momentum. But now the ball stopped and we melt to it. It becomes 1. So melt to the man. We already have outside leverage now, okay? So as we get our contact and quote unquote take the charge, we can force them inside to our help because we're a man here. So most time we're in 1 high. So you got that middle of the field safe now that can help you on the outside. All right. So if we force them inside to your inside help, biggest thing I tell all my guys in the slot, keep your eyes off the quarterback. For some reason, a lot of young DBs think when we're playing man coverage, let's look at the ball. I tell my young guys, I think I got some of them on here too. There has never been a quarterback to ever throw you the ball on purpose. I promise you. It's never happened. So keep your eyes on your man, okay? Stay on that top hip. Now, going into phase 3 now. We can man turn this now instead of having to turn a body. We can man turn now. So as that ball's in the air now, I want you to go chest to chest and play up through his hands. So his hands go up, you shoot your hands up. His hands go out, you go out. My biggest coaching point for phase 3 is we go to his hand. We go through his hands. Okay. A lot of times guys want to swipe up and down. We don't want to do that because now you leave the window open to get that ball in. If you go through wherever his hands come, the ball's going there. Receivers ain't gonna give you no fake hands up where they're trying to catch the ball and then go somewhere else. Their hands go where the ball go. So where our hands go there. And now it protects you from that back shoulder fade now because you can play through his body now and get your hand out there. Okay. And then one of my last points in my phase 3, if they do throw an in-breaking route, a post, a dig, something like that, because we're in man coverage and we have that high safety, we can be super aggressive now and undercut all routes because we got a guy over the top. It's either the ball gonna be overthrown, so now our guy can come dislodge the ball, or it's underthrown, we go get a pick. All right. But the biggest thing from playing scooch inside is we gotta get outside leverage, be really patient, and keep your eyes on your man, and everything else should do its job for you. Now, if we get a tight end, okay, I tell my guys right now, do you think he can beat you in a foot race? The answer better be no. Just let you out. The answer better be no. I cannot get beat by tight end. If you are getting beat by tight end, you gotta go play down, go play linebacker. Tight ends aren't gonna run bias. Okay. So now I want you to sit there at 5 now, hot your feet, and I want you to catch. We're just playing straight catch now. Normal catch, just like we're in the red zone or something like that. Normal catch. Hot your feet. We're still outside leverage. Now I want your feet squared up, ready to catch. Stop his momentum, then we melt to him, and everything else is the same after that. So basically, the biggest difference from the slot, from what I teach, if you get a receiver, I want you to scooch. If you get a tight end, I want you to sit there and catch. You better not give him an inch. We don't respect tight ends until they earn it.
Yeah, I like that. Now we're about to hear from Coach Q. All right, Q, you got a 3-by-1 set, right? You're on number 3 right now. Teach me how you're going to play off man with your safety right now.
Absolutely. First and foremost, I had my first daughter yesterday, so if you guys hear her trying to talk on the space, I'll try to talk over her, but she's doing well. Thank you for everybody that reached out to me. Her and mom are both doing well, and we should be out of the hospital, if not tonight, maybe sometime tomorrow. So they're good. Everything's good. Now getting into the football part, right? So 3x1, as a safety, I think it's really important that you know your issues. So first and foremost, you have to know what down you have. First and second down, a lot of teams, especially in the Big Ten, kind of speaking from my experience here in Nebraska, you're going to get run game. So you need to know where that back is. You need to know if the back is to you, you might be alert to that RPO. I'm not saying that you're going to be the guy that they're keying, but you need to know exactly where they're at, because you might be getting that slant, you might be getting an out, a bubble, things like that in the RPO game. So you could be aggressive to it. Now, if the back is away from you, you need to understand that you might be getting run to you and you might get crack replaced. So you need to be alert to that. One thing that we teach with our crack replace is that receiver needs to be touching somebody in order for you to replace. He needs to have blocked somebody, cracked down on somebody in order for you to replace, because these offensive coordinators think they're smart now and they'll crack and go you, and then it's 88 out the gate, their band is playing. So we don't want to give up anything deep. Now, as far as teaching the man progression, Coach Vaughn talked about leverage earlier, and I thought that was a very good point, because as a safety, the way we teach it is we're always outside leverage because we know we have help deep in the post, right? So our post player is going to protect us on anything inside, and that makes us aggressive to the outside ball. For us, we teach catch based on levels of defense, all right? So our DBs are always going to be on either level 1 or level 3. Level 1 is always going to be press man. So if your man's on the ball, whether the safety has number 1, number 2, or the safety is always going to have 2 or 3, whether that's a tight end or a speed guy, the corner will always have number 1, and then our nickel, or maybe even one of our linebackers, depending on where the formation is, he is going to have number 3, or the tight end / number 3. Based on that, the corner will be on level 1, press man. Level 2 is always going to be taken care of by a nickel or a linebacker. And then level 3 is typically where our safeties are going to be playing. On level 3, you're going to be 8 yards deep, outside leverage. The reason we do that is to hold those shells. And one thing that I've learned being here is that shells are as important as anything. If you're playing 1 high and you can make it look like 2, then you're going to be in very good shape against a lot of these quarterbacks who are just caught to catch the ball and throw it to open space. If you can hide those shells, then you're going to be in good shape. You have to know where your threats are, have to know where the speeds are. And last thing that I kind of want to touch on real quick in this 3x1 that Coach Kyle talked on was taking the charge with that catch technique. We want our guys to be aggressive in the pass game when we're playing man. Obviously, Coach Kyle, he said the same thing. Don't peek. Do not look at the quarterback. The quarterback ain't throwing it to you. But that doesn't mean you can't be aggressive in the pass game. We want you to be a ball player. We want you to be here. So at the same time, as much as we want you to be smart, we want you to be aggressive and make plays, because that's how we get paid around here, right?
There you go. So now we just got one more question for both of our safeties coaches real quick. Right now we're just going to talk about a little bit of post-safety eye progression real quick. So depending on the coverage, right, if it's cover 3 or if it's man, right, we're closing the middle of the field. You can talk about each just for Q and Kyle right now. What's your eye progression for your post-safety in cover 3 right now?
You better be in the post. I need a post player corner.
You want to go first, Q? I went first last time. You can take this one first.
Please be back there. I need you back there to help me out.
You know we got y'all. Go ahead, Q. I took the first. You can take this one first.
Yeah, I'll hop on. So in the post, again, you have to know your threats. First thing first, you got to know if you got 3x1 or 2x2. If you got a 3x1, then the best thing that you're going to be able to do is understand that you're going to have to lean towards that 3 receiver side. Unless they got like a dog on that backside as that X, you need to know that guy, that 3x1 is going to be your most threats. So take away that. We're 60-40 leaning towards that 3. If you get a post thrown in your way, it better be denied. It's simple as that. If you get a post caught on you, you better keep running. So in the post, eye progression wise, we're always going to be leaning towards that. One thing that we have to protect more than anything is going to be those verticals. So protecting the vertical of number 3 on that deep over route, protecting that bender route up that hash. And then if you don't get any vertical threats, look to lean towards that X receiver late on the backside.
Yeah, just piggybacking off of Coach Q. Same thing pretty much. I like to say if you get 3-by-1 now, we're on that speed goalpost. So I like you to be on the goalpost towards that 3 receiver side. Okay. And then now if we get 2-by-2, I want you also on the speed goalpost pretty much where is that open side now? Because like I said earlier about the tight ends, if we can't outrun the tight end or get over to a tight end, you got to go play linebacker. So I want you on the speed goalpost of wherever in that formation is. And same thing, like you said, getting that vertical by 3, making sure we're there and denying all post routes. So your eye progression for me would be where are my threats at? What coverage are we in? And who needs my best help? So if we get 2-by-2 with 2 receivers now, I want to look for who has the worst matchup. Because let's be honest now, sometimes our guys in the slot or other guy isn't always the best athlete. And sometimes, we have to help him out a little bit more. So now if that's the case, you get 2-by-2 and you got your worst matchup to your left. Well, I want you to cheat a little bit to the left, get on that other goalpost there. So now we can still play both routes middle of the field, but now we got help over the top just in case our guy gets beat.
Here you go. I like it. Hey, man. So that's all from us, from our DB coaches. I'm not going to speak because I'm not a DB guy, but if anybody want to talk linebacker play, slide in my DMs. We can talk linebacker play. We're going to get a linebacker space going soon.
Yes,
so now,
sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir. In the
What you want to talk
box.
about, Nigel?
yes,
Box, fill
sir.
In the
box.
Yes,
box.
sir. So
In
now
the
we
box.
open for any questions right now. If anybody got any questions right now, don't hesitate to ask right now.
Well, I think, Nigel, I think they probably I gotta let them talk or they gotta raise their hand. Something
Yeah,
like that,
everybody
right?
just raise your hand. We're going to try to open it up.
Request.
Anybody can ask questions.
You
Hit the
got to request.
DMs.
The
Hit the
request button.
DMs.
All right, there was 2 requests. I just let you guys talk, so I asked the questions.
No, my next question is, can you guys do this more often? This is really good, man.
For
Good.
sure.
Yes, sir.
Talking my
For
language,
sure.
baby. Talking
No
my
doubt.
We
language.
do this every day, like literally every
Yes,
day.
sir.
It just be in a confined FaceTime out the blue. So we got to get your number and how to type you in every once in a while.
Hit the DMs.
Next question. I think I accepted 2 requests. So I know whoever's next.
What's up, y'all? I got 2 questions. One, somebody had mentioned a scooch guru. Can you go a little bit more in detail with that? And then 2, I've been seeing this little settle technique that I've been diving into is where I'm seeing corners line up a little bit in that dead zone, get a nice pedal back to about 10 yards and then settle and then play the angle game. So I wanted to hear some of y'all thoughts on that as well.
Yeah.
Who
So
all
I
the
If
was.
good
you off
brothers?
at 10,
Oh,
if you off
this is
at 10, you
yeah.
getting rock. Don't be off at 10, please.
Yeah,
Please make sure guys don't be
this
off
is
at 10.
Devon Brown, Coach Brown. Well, yeah, I called myself the Scooch Guru because that's what I did when I played football in college, when I played at FAU, because I wasn't the damn best press man. But I do think Scooch technique help you when you in a slot or you playing off man because of the route, dictating the route. So the reason I believe in Scooch is because, like I said, most of the routes is broke between 12 and 15 yards. So when you already off, you have an advantage because they're running full speed, but now you tempoing it. So y'all break points gonna be kind of the same. You be kind of same matched up when you break because you already at 15 yards. So I believe in Scooch because of you already at 7 to 8 yards, and by the time you Scooch, you at 12, and then you get in your pedal. So routes kind of usually break between 12 and 15 yards. So I believe in scooching and then winning your leverage. You could be outside leverage scooching or inside leverage scooching. So it's more scooching for me. It's more of a patient step, knowing that I just want to pedal and be in a fast pedal the whole way. Like so many coaches use different terminology. I use scooch where, hey, it's my patient step. I want 3 scooches, and that's kind of to clear any kind of release. So I can see your release. I can see your stems off of all that. So if I'm scooching and you stem me inside, I can scooch and still slide with my scooch, right? If you stem me outside, I can scooch and still slide to the outside. So I think scooching kind of give you the same technique. If you impress man, kind of patient. Let me see what this receiver got to do. Let me see where he trying to go at. And then once I do that, let me get in my pedal. By the time I get in my pedal, now he finna break his route. So now you always gonna be on top of his route. So everything you doing, you playing top down, not in trail, not running and trying to catch up. You know what I mean? Everything kind of playing top down because you read and release. All the school step do is give you opportunity to read his release, and then giving you like, okay, let me see where he gonna break this breaking point at. It's gonna be 12 and 15 yards. You already at 8 yards. By the time you Scooch getting your pedal, you gonna be at 15. He gonna be at about 10 yards. So now anything he do in front of you, you can break on him and break on the ball and having vision on the ball. And everything, everybody like to get tackled, everybody like to get PBUs. But fucking get interception, that will get coaches paid, that will get you paid, that will get you to the next level. So we want interception. How you get interception? By reading routes, knowing what routes they're gonna do, and then playing everything top down, not trying to get out of phase, always stand in phase. So that's why I feel like when I say Scooch grew, I just say that because I wasn't the best man-to-man in college. I did a lot of Scooch technique, and I played at a high level when I did that because of, okay, what I'm going to do when he in the slot? What I'm going to do when he by the numbers? What I'm going to do by the time he scoots, he breaking the routes, and I'm always on top of routes rather than trying to chase routes. You know what I'm saying? So my thing with Scooch is always being on top of routes and then dictating what he do, inside release them, outside release them. I can always shuffle, move, slide with that within my scoot step. And that's going to always give you 3 scoot steps and then get in your pedal rather than have fast feet always out of control. You can have a control scoot, control pedal, and then brake with control.
Real quick. I know, real quick, as I'm not going to order because I'm accepting the request. I know Coach Cam Rogers was the second guy. I know he had a question. So, Coach Cam, you up?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? I appreciate y'all doing this. My question's for all y'all. I just want to know, like, what criteria or how do you guys grade your corners? What do you grade them off of?
Oh, who want to take that?
Hey, Trey, go ahead. Trey, talk about what you were talking about last night.
I got you. Now, I think something that you got to make sure that you focus on when you talk about grading guys is giving them something that they can use to grade themselves. You know, when you're not around. So something that I like to use is job alignment odds. So like every time a guy lines up, the main question you're always gonna ask is, what is your job? Did you do your job? Yes or no? Right? Whatever your job may be, man to man, read 2, palms, cover 2. Did you do your job? Right? Now from there, alignment, because now you start getting to the film. You show the guy, okay, alignment wise, where you were you supposed to be alignment wise, and then your eyes. What was your key? Right? You always giving the guys when they go into a situation, no matter what it is, for every coverage. What is your job? What is your alignment? Where are your eyes? And that's something that's easy. It's easy for them to learn, right? And it's easy for you to teach. It's easy that it kind of just rolls off the tongue. You know what I mean? What is your job? Did you do your job? Yes or no? Okay, was your alignment correct? Yes or no? Were your eyes where they supposed to be? Yes or no? Right? So that's something that I kind of use when I grade my guys. And then these are the questions that I ask them. So now they can grade themselves.
That's a great answer, Trey. Let's keep it rolling. We're going to wrap this up like in 15 minutes. Coaches are Boston College, big dog in the building. You got a question, Coach?
Yeah, how you doing, fellas, man? I appreciate you allowing me to ask a question. It's a little bit of a 2-part. I think, Trey, you answered a little bit of it. Just wanted to hear some of you guys coaching progression, just your teaching progression. Always want to get better with that. And also, I know you guys were talking about, man, if you can hit on how you guys teach leverage, because, you know, it's horizontal leverage and vertical leverage. Uh, Especially when you got a middle field safety. Are you guys on divider rules? Do you use your seam? Do you just take a certain leverage? Like, if you can elaborate a little bit on that, always trying to be a sponge.
Yeah, I think let me hit this one real quick. I got you, Coach Azar. I try to make it real simple for my guys, and I think, you know, obviously where the ball is, right? The ball in the middle of the field. My guys already know if you have to default, you always default inside leverage, because like we talked about earlier, the easiest route to hit is the slant, right? That ball is on the far hash, and that guy is 3 yards outside the hash. Now you should change that leverage to outside. That guy's on the top of the numbers. Now you should be inside, right? If that guy's in the middle, between the middle of the number and the numbers in the hash, default inside, right? The worst thing they can do, they run a speed out on you. You catch a tackle, we let it play another play, right? If that ball's on that near hash to you, if that guy's anywhere inside those, and this goes for press and off, that guy's anywhere inside those numbers, right? You should be outside leverage. right? If he's touching those numbers, and this obviously can go into game plan, but if he's touching those numbers, the top of the numbers, then I want you to be inside, right? Using the read speed or the same release technique that I talked about earlier, outside and inside releases. But if that ball's on that near hash and that guy lines up on the numbers, be inside leverage, right? If he's now cut his foot anywhere inside, change your leverage to outside. If that ball's in the far hash and that guy's in the middle of the numbers in the hash, default inside, right? Unless I told you otherwise. If that guy's same thing, close to those numbers, you should be inside, right? That guy's like cut his split now to 3 yards outside the hash, be outside leverage. Protect yourself.
So I ain't no DB guy, but one thing I always talk to these guys about is just teaching progression. I just believe like one of the biggest things is how you present the information to them, and it kind of piggybacks on how you want to grade your guys. So I believe in when it comes to like teaching progression, I believe in a word called art, right? I think the game of football is just a work of art, right? It's poetry in motion, right? So when we go into art, we talk about alignment, responsibility, and technique, right? So when we talk about alignment for the linebacker position, right, we're going to have those guys' ability aligned so they're able to do job A and do job B, right? Because they're that two-part player where they can be in the run game and be in the pass game, right? When we talk about responsibility, now we got to dive a little bit deeper into that, right? Now we're talking about their keys, who they're keying, where's the backfield set, where's the running back to the wide sniffer, right? So you talk about those different things. And then now you talk about technique, right? Which kind of piggybacks off of your responsibility. What technique are you going to use right now to accomplish your job, right? So with that being said, those are also the 3 tools that I can give my guys right now. So when they walk into a room, it's no question. Every play they should be able to answer, what's my alignment? What's my responsibility? All right, depending on what the call is, and then what's my technique? All right, so with those guys being able to answer those different things, that's kind of just the way I teach it and break it down. So my guys is kind of simple to understand. And before every snap, they can go through art in their head every single play really fast.
And then also to piggyback off Coach Nigel, I mean, I said it earlier. I mean, as a corner, I learned this from Coach Lynch. He's my mentor. He's with the Browns. I talk about alignment, assignment, key, and first step. I mean, same thing everybody wants to hit on. Just keep it clear and concise and give your players, like, they can grade themselves. Was I aligned right? What is my assignment? Where's my eyes? Where's my key? And the first step to execute the call. So, like, if we're playing cover 3, but we know we're a press bail team, I want my first step. I want my outside foot to be dug in the ground. I want to be able to hinge open without taking a false step. I want to be able to get out in my press bail and snap the ball, right? So everything that they're going through, they can grade themselves, or they can just watch film and say, hit those 4 checkpoints, and they can all be clear and concise to them as well as me that they executed that play, that rep to perfection, or if they didn't, if they missed the part. If you missed the part, that's not perfection. So we got to get better at that. And that's just my teach progression on that. All right, so I'm gonna try to get into the next. There's a lot of requests. Hold on, there's a lot of requests. Who's next? Well, Coach Nigel, I like what you said. I like the art thing, man. We've been talking about that for a while since Buffalo. You've been hard steady on that, but that's